Hello everybody! So I'm going live today with the lovely Meg Matthews. Meg is somebody that I actually met through the podcast, and she's a great girl. I've got a huge amount of time and affection for Meg. Hello, hi! I wanted to kind of really do this because it was really important to me to kind of continue to help be a cheerleader for someone like Meg, because the beauty of Meg is that she actually has really been there, seen it, done it, and has actually gone through a huge amount of oh, my son from his bedroom's just joined. Good, Otto. I'm pleased you're learning about the menopause. It will help you understand mummy's mood on a regular basis. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Ali. Thank you for joining. This is going to be a great chat. And I hope... Hi, Nicola. How are you? Lovely to see you. Shortly, Meg is going to be joining us. And I really think that... the beauty of Meg is that she's really been there, seen it, done it. She also didn't recognise her own menopausal symptoms, and actually talking to her really helped me identify that I was perimenopausal. And women can be perimenopausal for 10 years plus. I see the menopause doctor. I'm a huge fan of hers. And I do take HRT. I think it was actually revolutionary for me. I know it's not for everybody, and I think that Meg will talk you through all the pros and the cons of different things. But I think it's also, it's about identifying it and understanding your mood and understanding how it leaves you feeling. And I think that this is where today, having someone like Meg, who I think is a massive cheerleader for women, actually. She raises huge awareness. She believes in talking about everything, the importance of every aspect of the menopause. And there's some real pros and there's some real cons. And I think there's also a lot of vulnerability that surrounds menopause. And I think at a time that you're at your most vulnerable, seeking for help. She's coming on. Hi. Right, let's view. Yay! I'm so excited. I'm so happy.
Oh,
Hello,
so pleased to see you, my gorgeous.
How are you, my love?
I'm really good. How are you?
I'm great. So good to see you. Do you know what? I was just literally talking about you prior to you coming on about what a phenomenal cheerleader you are for women empowerment, women as a whole. And you've really taken raising menopause to a whole new level, Meg, that you should be enormously proud of, because nobody was talking about it like you've been talking about it. Nobody was talking about it with the honesty, the transparency, you know, the days they felt utterly shit, the days that, you know, I will never forget the moment you told me that you were in a supermarket and you literally threw your shopping on the floor. You know, that's how bad it had got. So I'd like to, because I know that a lot of people might not have heard this conversation. Let's start from the beginning.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and because of you and Emma, and yours was the first podcast I've ever done in my life. And you got me on British Airways. I mean, I know that it was on BA. Your podcast was on BA, and I couldn't believe that the honesty and the truth. And you know, there were pigs sit there in first class or economy or whatever, and go, "Oh, I think I listened to this podcast." The menopause, and what was that? 4 years ago? 3 years ago?
Yeah, 3 years ago. So what's amazing about that is that, just think, you know, BA, we had 16 million listeners, and I think, you know, yours was very much up there as the most listened to. And I think that the information you gave is what I want to share to so many of our listeners today, because I think that many people actually don't realise they're perimenopausal.
No, absolutely. We put it down to... well, number one for me, I had never even heard of the word perimenopausal till 5 years ago. No. Never even once had been in my psyche. So, you know, and I think I'm quite a well-read woman, you know. I just thought, yeah, you know, the menopause is coming, you know, hot flush and no period. That was that. Now, this word perimenopause is so much more important than the word menopause. I'm now coming round to. I talked and talked. So I was blue in the face about the menopause. But then when I started to look deeper into this whole journey, when I started to learn statistics, you know, 1 in 100 women from the ages of 40 to 45 will be perimenopause. Now that's 1 in 100. That's a lot of women. And if we think there's something like, you know, it said it was 13 million, I think it's more now, 14 million people are going through the menopause. Can you imagine how many women are perimenopause? And when I started to keep this diary, and I started looking at the perimenopause, because I started to understand that it wasn't just stress. I wasn't putting it down to, oh, I put on a bit of weight, I just really can't be bothered, I've got no energy. Everything I did back in those days was, I was just ticking all these list of perimenopause symptoms. And it was like, wow, all those days when I just felt a little bit under the weather. Yeah, the blur, had a bit of brain fog, got a headache, didn't really feel like having to have sex with my husband, didn't really feel like I wanted to get dressed up to go out for dinner. You know, everything seemed to be, you know, it should be, all this sort of stuff should be fun, but it just felt like oh, God, do I really have to do this? Now, when I look back, I think that I was definitely perimenopausal around the age of 41, 42, but you know, I just used to think, oh, God, why don't I always feel like, you know, 100%? What is it? Now, for me, I didn't have PMS and I didn't have, you know, bad periods. So I used to get these times in the month, which I think a lot of girls mislead with their, as I do know this for a fact now, because of all the women that I have that are perimenopausal around me, they... when you're about to come on your period, your estrogen levels drop
radically.
So radically. So we know. So it's the same as, you know, going through the menopause. So those few days when you're getting PMS, that is the reason, because the estrogen level drops. And if you have it really badly, like I have some friends who really like hot water bottles, and because it never ever had happened to me, I never missed a day off school, off games. I gave birth in an hour and 15 minutes. You know, I would always be like, oh, what are they on about? But I still had those days, but because it wasn't relatively around my period, I just felt very odd. But I just thought that it was my colourful 90s, that, you know, maybe I stayed up a few nights too much, maybe I've been raving, you know. So I always had this excuse. I didn't have the excuse that I was working 9 to 5 and all this. I had the excuse that I probably hadn't been to bed for about 3 days. But, you know, it was all to do with that. But that was what I put it down to.
I think that, as you know, naturally women, we just try and find solutions, and we put things down immediately to, oh, we just must be overdoing it. This is just how we're meant to feel. You know, what is this feeling? And I think often it's the out of body experience, that out of body behavior, erratic behavior. And I think that's when you spoke quite openly and honestly back 4 years ago about, you know, having social anxiety, all these things, hot flushes, anxiety in the middle of the night when you weren't worried about anything, you know, being in the supermarket, thinking you knew what you wanted to cook, throwing your shopping on the floor and feeling kind of like a crazy madwoman. The reality was you weren't. You were just menopausal and being misdiagnosed. And I think that this is where so many women are at, is that it's a subject that's not, I don't believe it's such a taboo now. I love the fact that you have really helped cheerlead perimenopause and menopause, so it's become an open vocabulary. I mean, I've got endless fabulous articles written by yourself for big magazines and big papers, and I think that you set about trying everything. You know, you've been there, you've seen it, you've done it, and I love the fact that since we met, you've launched your own range. Ta-da! Okay, so I want you to talk through really, you know, what should somebody do who thinks I'm perimenopausal? Where would you say is, I mean, I use Dr. Louise Newson. I know you know Louise, the menopause doctor, and she's been great for me. I use HRT, and HRT has been literally life-saving. I love it. But it's not for everybody, and I know that. And I think it's a very personal journey, a bit like taking the pill, you know.
But see, body identicals do not use body. Do you have the gel or do you not?
I have the gel. I have the EstroGel.
So we should call, so basically let's take, so, you know, so there is bioidenticals, which I'm not a fan of. Then there's body identicals. And then there's, and then we know HRT. Now, body identicals You can get it from Dr. Louise Newson.
Yeah.
You can get it from Dr. Harper in Harley Street. You can get it from Sarah Matthews at the Portland. But you can also get it from your GP.
Yeah.
And it only costs the NHS £4. So we are looking at prevention as well. So, at the age of 45, someone just called me, you know, or, you know, you can go and, you know, just describe your symptoms. Now, of course, it is harder to have this conversation with your GP, but I have now launched the Megsmenopause app. And
I love this.
You can just download it.
Yeah.
All your symptoms in it.
Yeah.
It's and basically you do a score sheet, you go through it. There's going to be a tracker, but if you go and get this app now, you can take this app. It's called the Megsmenopause app. It's free. It's got every bit of information.
I will link that. I will link that to this video for you.
So it's everything from my website, and so it helps you to navigate, helps you to do like the actually sort of nice guide with all the symptoms, so you can just go into your GP and go, look, this is me.
And this is, and I recognise these symptoms. I think that's the other thing, is going in feeling armed.
Yeah, feeling armed, you know, not feeling aggressive, of course, but feel that, you know, on the NHS, you get 8 minutes with that doctor. Now, I just kept going in, and I wasn't armed with anything. So I just kept going in, and antidepressants, because when I got in there, I don't know what it is. I just don't know, you know, really, you know, just couldn't explain it. Then when I had the list in front of me, I was like, yeah. And then I went back in. And then also, if you go in and you're in the NHS, go to your surgery, go to the reception and say, you know, is there a menopause specialist among the doctors? Is there anyone you can point me to who's a bit more of a specialist? And that will also help. But also, if you don't get on that well, you can always go back. If you didn't feel you connected with your doctor, go back to the reception and say, you know, I didn't get on that well. Can I see another doctor? Don't give up. Don't just be like that. When you're sitting in there with the doctor, it's like, you know, when you go for a haircut and then they're cutting and you're looking in the mirror and you're just not saying anything. You know, this Bioidenticals, which is you know, the cutting.
We've all been there. We've all been there.
So I just want to say that, and also this Bioidenticals, okay, you take that and you can take a progesterone tablet. Now, even when you're having your period, you can take this EstroGel and you can rub a little pump on your arm every day, still while you're getting periods, because you're still not, as we're going year in and year, you know, as we're getting older yearly, we are not making as much estrogen, progesterone and testosterone. Every year it gets weaker and weaker. And with the lack of estrogen, you get the chronic anxiety, which I got, and I didn't leave my house for 3 months. You know, got the foggy brain, got the aching joints, started to put weight on, you know, all these little things, and they're all coming at you at once, and you're like, you know.
And I think it's, as you say, you know, the lack of sleep, the anxiety, and then the layer of brain fog is just like an out-of-body experience, because you're somebody who's usually also really in control, and suddenly you feel like wildly out of control, and you're like, what is this? Is this like normal?
Angry and emotional, and I mean, you know, all over the place. Someone who's quite, you know, a bit carefree, it's all of a sudden, I'm that person. Why is the top of the fucking toothpaste? You know, and then like going, oh, was that really me? You know,
don't say that. That wasn't me.
Say that. Oh my God. You know, so it was really, really weird that you know, that all this stuff was coming up. But, you know, but the bigger picture is, and this is where I'm wanting to start, like, leading out this year, is that I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff around perimenopause and a lot of stuff about prevention, and trying to get the word out there that not at the age of 50 that you get, I won't say a stupid letter, but you get a letter from the NHS and it goes, go and have a mammogram. Now, I think that it should be at the age of 45. You get a letter and it says, and everyone gets this email or letter in the whole of England. So, you know, going out to all these millions of women, as well as your mammogram, of course, I think it should say, this is perimenopause, this is menopause, this is postmenopause. Let's put it in writing. Also, we do know, because from me doing this, I had osteoporosis.
Yep.
So at the age of 49, 50. Last year at Louise Newson's, I had been doing doing a lot more EstroGel than I usually do. I did 5 pumps of EstroGel, and I did some weight training.
Yeah.
And the year before, 2018, I did a DEXA scan, and I was in the red. They tried to give me all this medication for osteoporosis. And I started asking doctors to read about it for me. And I was like, I'm not taking that. Within a year, we did it live on a video at Louise's Wellness Centre. And I was out of the red and in the green and yellow. So I'm now going to be working with the Royal Osteoporosis Society, because there was me in the red, would not have had no idea. The only reason I had a DEXA scan is because my mum had osteoporosis, and I just thought, I'm going to. So I did lie a bit to go and get my scan done. I said, I've smoked 46 cigarettes a day, I smoked 2 bottles of gin, drink 2 bottles of gin, but I don't. But I just did all this stuff to have a DEXA scan. Now, all of this as well should be in the letter. So you should be asked to have a DEXA scan, because 1 out of 2 women in the UK will get osteoporosis. It's not a big, expensive scan. It's not like an MRI scan. You can stay with your clothes on, or you can stay and it's just a light goes through your hip and goes through your bottom of your lumbar. Yeah. It's quick and it's easy, and it takes like 10 minutes. You know, and we would save millions of, women, we would save their lives, because they would like hip replacements. We do billions of those every day on the NHS. Yeah. You know, we know that 2 out of 3 women suffer from strokes or heart attacks in their 50s. We've overtaken men now. Yeah. Yeah. You know, and the estrogen protects the heart. So within doing all this prevention stuff, we now know, and I had a full 3 weeks ago, in the middle of this COVID-19, I'd had a tox screen done, like a blood screens done about a few months ago, just on the NHS. And it all came back, and everything came back like 100%. And it was just a bit like, you know what, I do know that this estrogen levels, and you know, they were perfect. And I hadn't had a blood test, by the way, everyone, for 2 years. I don't do them very often. I do them every 2 years. I just wanted to see what my thyroid was like, and you know, everything came back in top working order, you know. But as well as that, I do want to say, ladies, you know, I don't smoke, I don't drink alcohol,
and you do work out.
And I do work out. I'm not the best of workouters.
Okay, well, listen, I think you're pretty good. Look, when I watch your Instagram, I'm like, wish I had abs like you. Now, we've got some amazing messages coming through that before we move on to your products, I want to actually raise. Leonie is saying, I'm a PT, a personal trainer. I have clients that strength training with me has increased bone density, and it's definitely worked. That's fantastic. Brilliant. And I think it is so true, isn't it? That weight training is what we need to be doing and adding. I've got another lady saying, I'm 41 here and I've been perimenopausal for the last 2 years. Every day is different and I try and embrace it. Hot flushes and anxiety, forgetfulness, indecisiveness are my absolute worst. Please, you know, don't suffer. This is the big thing, isn't it? I think that so many people are suffering, and I think that there's no need to suffer. That's the beauty, is that we don't need to be suffering. And if you are one of those people who is having the hot flushes, the anxiety, social anxiety, I think anybody who knows me, I'm a really outgoing person. I love going out, but that feeling of social anxiety is quite crippling. And actually, it makes you feel like you're really having an experience that it's out of body, and that's what's so unpleasant about it. But I want to talk to you and ask you about all of your products, which I know are available online. I just want to say, the girl just here said, after listening to my podcast, she went and had a DEXA scan and she has osteoporosis. So well done for going. Well done. Because this is where it's at, you know, raising this awareness, letting people know all of these things. These are things that actually there isn't sort of like the perfect. This is what annoys me, because it's a bit of gel. It only costs the NHS £4 for that EstroGel gel. That's all it costs. And then, you know, the prevention with heart attacks, you know, strokes,
just all the
bigger
things that
picture.
we save. Yeah, the bigger picture. Don't think, because in my head, the way I thought it was I would hold out, because this is the way that I thought it was supposed to work, hold out for as long as possible to go and get HRT. I thought I was going to wait. And then that's not what it's about. I remember going in when I first started taking it and seeing Sarah Matthews, and I said, I haven't taken it for 6 weeks. And she looked at me. I said, didn't I do well? And I feel fantastic. And she just said, what, do you want to be a wrinkly old prune? I went, no. She said, well, that's what you'll end up like. And I was like, oh,
get on
okay.
it.
Yeah, quick. Yeah.
Straight to the pot and start rubbing your arm with more gel. But tell me, I want to know, now, last time we met, the products were actually top secret. You told us about them, and you said you were working on something, but, you know, it was top secret. And now I see some beautiful packaging behind you, and I want you to talk us through it and where people can get it and why it helps them.
I've got my little spray while I'm here.
Let's go through.
Vegan. Okay, first of all, we have the Megsmenopause Rosy Rain. They are made in England. They're completely vegan. They're completely natural. And they are made out of sugarcane husk. They are 97% sustainable sugarcane husk and only 3% plastic in the whole range.
Incredible.
And there's like pure rose in here, no synthetic rose. Like I thought, like Gelique and all that's like £45 a spray. They have synthetic rose in there. I have got pure rose in mine, and all my pricings, they're in Boots, they're in Tesco's, they're in Superdrug, and they're online. And if you buy them online, you get free postage.
Fantastic. And which means at the moment, people, you can still kind of
they
keep buying. Everything's, absolutely.
Buying, we're still posting out all day long. So this is for when you're having a hot flush and you're just feeling, you know, or I just do it all the time, because it's like sherbety, rosy, just gives you that lift. You can spray it over your makeup. It won't, your makeup. It's a very fine spritz.
Mist.
And and it just sort of like, when you breathe it in, and also I find that it calms me as well. So if I'm feeling a bit agitating, it's great. Yes, very good. Good word, balancing. We like that.
Balancing. Right. I'm liking that too, Meg. Use this top up of EstroGel.
This was called the Meno Blend.
Yeah.
And I came up with this when I used to go to Whole Foods and Planet Organic, and and I will go and spend a fortune on vitamins. I'm sure Emma's here with me. She loves a bit of a health food shop.
Yeah, and certainly great packaging.
Great packaging, So, so basically I used to go and buy all my vitamins and all my superfoods, and then I added it up and it was like, wow. And I thought, how can I tell all my ladies, because I wanted everything to always be mainstream and available for everyone, not just in Space NK or in Liberties or in Selfridges, where, you know, there's only an X percentage of the country of women can afford it. So I wanted to make it that you could put, if you're in Tesco's or you're in Boots, you can put this in with your weekly shop, because everything is like $9.99, $8.99, $7.99, and it's all vegan, and it's like this. So I'm looking at what I know those markups those companies are making, ladies out there now. Now I've made my own. So with this, I then went and I put all these vitamins. So there's like vitamin A, B, C, E, calcium, folic acid, biotin, magnesium, iron, zinc, copper, magnesium, selenium, coranium, iodine, because you really need that. Then we've got acai berry, chlorella, glucosamine, green tea extracts, hyaluronic acid, maca, MSM, and wheatgrass, and that is phenomenal.
Oh my God! And then $9.99.
No, this is £28.
£28, and how many do you? And what supply do you get?
And
it's a month's worth.
Paper.
Wow.
Everything's paper, and then you just do this. You rip it open. And then in there is like this grey powder, see? And it's like a vanilla
flavour.
Vanilla flavour. Now, I put mine with oat milk. You can put it in a smoothie. I put mine with oat milk, and then I get like a little milk frother. Because, you know, if you put it in cold milk, it doesn't dissolve. It is hard to dissolve. Because the nurse is going, oh, Mum, it's not dissolving. I'm like, all right, just put that in, you know. So you have to do that. But that is everything that you need. I mean, you know, any woman can have these. I mean, any woman, any man can have it just because it is this.
It's just full of goodness.
It's just amazingly, and it will really help with all your brain fogs and those superfoods. It was very hard. I think I'm the first person to mix all the superfoods with the vitamins. I was up for Best British Product Initiative, and I've only been out a year in February.
Meg, that is amazing.
Yeah, and then I also was up for Best New British Product as well. But initiative
huge congratulations,
and then
Meg.
I won an award with Glow Beauty. I came 5th, I think. So within not even a year.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah. And
that's amazing.
So that's called the Meno Blend. So that's what you need just to make you feel great. Yeah. Then we've got Blossom Love, which is based like this. It's a great froth.
Yep.
Smells of nothing, no perfume, but it's got marshmallow root in it.
Now, I've got to tell you, a good friend will tell you this. You've got some on the end of your nose. Just here.
Thank you.
It's like the person who never tells you you've got something in your teeth. I'm not going to do that to you.
No, don't let me do that. So this is the intimate wash, and basically before I knew about the menopause, you know, we all know that there's that like you know, so she's all dried up and you know, and everything, and this is true. Basically, as you're going through the menopause, your body starts to dry from the inside out. Yeah. And you can get dry eye syndrome where your eyes some women can't even open their eyes. Dry mouth syndrome, and you're going to have a dry vagina. So with all of these things, great to look forward to, ladies.
The aging process is just, you know, joy.
So I basically use all this like Aesop. I love Aesop, you know, they're brown and all that beautiful stuff. And then I'm washing with it. And then I'm noticing that it's, you know, a little bit stingy down there. And I'm like, well, what's this all about? So then I go and see my gynecologist, and as we're talking, and she's like, you do look after your pH balance, you know, down there. I was like, no. She said, you're not just supposed to wash it with soap, really, Meg? And I was like, what? Oh, really? And she said, no, it should be 3.5. So off I went off to Boots, walked around Boots, and was like, oh, I don't want Vaggie Femme and Femme Fresh. I thought that was for women that had smelly vaginas. I just thought, I don't want that all over my house. I mean, they've already come in my bathroom. And when I see that in other people's bathrooms, I always go, ooh, do you know what I mean? So I just thought, I don't want that. I thought I'm going to go, and when I was putting this, so that was another instance why I wanted to do this. Yeah. So this is 3.5. So when you wash down there, it doesn't like strip it. You imagine, you know, if you ever wash your face with just soap in it, it goes like that.
And it also tights. It goes really tight.
Well, that's basically what you're doing. You're ripping all the oils, all the naturals out of your vagina, which you shouldn't do. You should be really looking after it, because what happened is with the lack of collagen, so our vulva is like really plump and lovely when we're young. And then as we get older, it just gets thinner and thinner. And then it sort of gets a bit open, which means it's quite exposed. So with that, I then thought, I was then in Chanel talking to one of my really good members of staff there. And
not that you're out there often, Meg. Not that you're there often.
No. So I'm chatting with the ones that have been there for like 30 years, you know, the ones that are working couture and everything. And they were just telling me that they have to wear black tights, whatever it is, however hot it is, however cold it is, you know, because they're serving very good customers, and you know they have to be very smartly in their black ties. And they were telling me how that they would get quite itchy and uncomfortable during the day. And then I was speaking to women in offices who said sitting down all day at a desk and a computer. And so then I thought, right, I'm going to come up with something. So after the intimate wash, I came up with Blossom Balm, and it's just like a beautiful balm. and you just basically like that. It's like a gel balm.
Yeah.
And it's completely natural, aloe vera, cooling, completely organic, completely natural, completely vegan, and you rub that on. Also, it doesn't stain anything. I made sure of that. It would not stain any gusset of any La Perla or Agent Provocateur. Anyone coming back to me?
Yeah, you're like, I don't want anything.
No,
this is where you've been so amazing, is that I think you've been so hands-on with every step of this process and the products. Yeah. And that's where it was really important to you. And I remember you saying to us, you know, price point was really important. Yeah. Having packaging that you were proud to leave out in your bathroom was huge.
Which was, you know, and I designed all this and made all this in the 3 months when I didn't leave my house. So with it, you know, when they say out of the dark comes something great, you know.
Yeah. I completely agree.
You know, I mean, I would never have thought of all these ideas, and why was I going to come up? And then we've got Lotion Motion, which is the lubricant.
Yes.
You know, for sex.
Love the name.
Masturbating or whatever you want to do. Bring it into foreplay in your sex. I mean, you know, you don't have to sort of bring it out and go, tonight we're using lube because I'm a little bit dry. You just sort of, you know, bring it in, you know, to the foreplay. And it will really change a lot of things. And you can carry this in your handbag. If this falls out, no one knows what it is. Well, I hope in a few years' time, the whole world will know what this pink bottle is.
I'm all singing it proud.
Yeah.
Pink and pretty.
Yeah, so this sits next to my bed, and I have 100 teenagers in my house back and forth most days. They don't even look at it, you know?
Yeah. Do you know what, though, Meg? It fits your decor beautifully.
Of course, my whole house.
Anybody who follows Meg's Instagram knows that Meg has a divine house, but it's very beautifully colour themed. Yes. And I can see where your inspiration came from.
It absolutely did. It's practically the same colour as my walls.
Yeah. It was all created to suit the home.
Suit the home. And then last, I've got Sealed with a Love and Kiss.
Yeah.
Which is hyaluronic acid. Probably a third of what you'll pay anywhere over the counter in one of those beauty counters. It's 1%. It's one of the highest ones to buy over the counter in the UK.
Yeah.
And it's beautifully packaged. And
that's amazing, Meg.
Gorgeous.
Wow.
Siggy, it's okay.
It's so impressive. And do you know what is incredible is that you've had this opportunity to really delve into everything that you know about the industry, having bought beautiful products over the years, having gone through this experience yourself, knowing what you wanted to achieve for yourself first and foremost, but then bringing it, as you say, and rightly say, to the masses. And I think that's the big thing. And I think that for anybody who is in this moment of transition, or even if they're questioning, am I perimenopausal, download Meg's app. It really is full of a stealth of advice. And I also know, Meg, that you regularly do Instagram chats anyway. And
I'm also on the app every day. I answer
which is incredible.
Questions.
And I think
it's like it works. So also what I love about the app, as it's like it's a place where you can go, ladies, you can chat to each other. So if the lady who was talking about the polyovary, says, if you go to my app and you put that in, loads of women who have that will come back to you. And it's a place where you can go and talk.
And it's like a community.
So you can get out of there.
I think that's the big thing. I think it's about feeling like you're being heard, but also feeling like you can relate to somebody else who's going through the same thing at the same time. And it might be that you say one thing that is the trigger. And I think that, you know, I never forget the first time I heard you speak, you talked about social anxiety. And I think if there was one symptom for me that was the most out of body, it was the social anxiety. And I think that the moment, and also because I knew that wasn't me.
Yeah.
And I knew that was really weird. And I was like, why have I got this overpowering sense that I can't go? And I would make excuses, and I don't want to be that person.
No.
And suddenly when you said it, I almost felt like, oh my God, of course that's what it is.
Yeah.
And, you know, the minute I spoke to Louise, it almost felt like it was a weight off my shoulders. The minute I started on the EstroGel gel, I instantly started to feel like my old self come back. And I think that, you know, I having just finished 10 Years Younger as a show, I think one of the greatest things for me that came out of this was creating a community of women who feel accessible to come now and ask questions.
Yeah.
Because I think that, as we all know, and this is not to slam trad media at all, but the reality is you get to kind of what I call the 40 bracket, and it becomes less and less targeted at you. And I think suddenly you're in this weird, you know, moment of life where you don't want to be seen to be competing with your daughter. Things don't feel relevant to you, and yet you still feel that you're relevant. And you're like, well, I need something. So suddenly having people like yourself creating these apps and having communities where people can go has given this whole range of kind of, I think, hand experience where you're really hand-holding a lot of people through a transition period. And that for me is enormous and something to be hugely proud of. And I think, you know, and through you, I've met lots of people, and I was only speaking to your great friend Davinia Taylor last week, and she's amazing. And again, I just love people. What I love is authenticity, people who practice what they preach, and I think that are also very open to say it as it is. And I think you've never been afraid to talk about the really, really bad times and the times that you felt really bad with it. And you've turned your life around, not only from a hormonal side, but the fact that your osteoporosis is now in such a great place. Because when I was with you on the podcast, that wasn't the case. I mean, you just found out, you were quite scared by it. And I think that that is hugely positive. And it just goes to show, you know, through your own, being your own best friend, your own doctor, you can achieve so much. And you were determined to share your knowledge. And I think sharing is caring. And I can't thank you enough. And I, as always, I'm your biggest cheerleader. And I am thrilled for all these products. I'm going to add everything to this. I'm going to edit it for everybody. I'll send you a copy so you two can share it. And I think the more of us doing this, the more we're talking about it, the more it normalizes it. And please know, for anybody, you know, I think anybody, I think perimenopausal in truth can be from 38. I really do. I think people get kind of quite hung up on this age, but I mean, I think that certainly for me, I had an ectopic pregnancy, and I think that that was definitely a trigger. I think when body goes through any kind of trauma, it can be a trigger. And I think that those things are really important to look at your health history. Also, another great guide is to when your mum went through the menopause. I think that's also a very good kind of indicator. But I am, you know, I think that this is great to keep talking about it, Meg. And I honestly can't thank you enough. And so for everybody who's watched, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Gemma.
I can't wait to see you soon.
I know.
Lots of love. And, you know, please, I can't wait to hear about when your next conference is. I know you do a lot of those.
Let me say that. So the conference was cancelled in May. It was May the 16th. It's now October the 10th, everyone. So
fantastic.
If you want to think of something to look forward to, come to October the 10th. If you go to the website or go to the app, it will tell you all the details. And you can get tickets on Eventbrite. And it's a great day. It's just a really super day.
And where's it being held, Meg?
It's held in Westminster Central Halls, right by the House of Parliament.
Fantastic.
And it's on a Saturday, and it's great fun. And we start at 9.
Come with the girlfriends. Get a group of you.
You get a coffee, and then we do a beautiful vegetarian buffet, and then you get coffee in the afternoon. And then we have great Louisa speaking. I mean, everybody's down. So you get a whole day. You think of all the best specialists in the UK in one room, and you can just take notes, record stuff. You walk away with everything. You know, we have nutrition, we have sex, we just cover everything on the day. We have a dance.
Oh,
We have loud music. We do a meditation. We do breathing. Yeah.
So that's now October the 10th, Saturday,
yes.
October the 10th. Okay, can't wait. I'm going to come to that. So
brilliant.
thank
Please
you.
do.